Assalamu alaikum, inshallah you're well guys. So often I get asked the question, Fazan, how can we make our graduate or apprentice application stand out? So inshallah in today's video, I'm going to give you some tips around experiences and opportunities you should be including in your graduate or apprentice CV. The first opportunity I'm going to speak about is work experience. Now, no one is expecting you to have worked for an organization in practice or for a bank or for the organization that you've applied for. I'm talking more about part-time jobs. And a common fatal mistake, in my opinion, which I see amongst graduates and apprentices, is that they prioritize getting good grades over having work experience. I say this all the time, guys, that organizations are looking for skills. Are you a good communicator? Can you juggle multiple tasks at once? How well organized are you? Can you deal with problems in a logical manner? Can you deal with difficult conversations? These are all examples of skills which organizations look for. And in my opinion, and in many people's opinions actually, these skills are better developed in the workplace than at school, university, or college. I remember when I was 16, I had a part-time job in a call center where I was working during the evenings and weekends outside of sixth form. And I also held down a temporary retail job as well during the Christmas period. None of these experiences were relevant to the finance world. However, I developed skills because I was put in uncomfortable situations where I had to answer difficult questions from customers, and I had the opportunity to work with people outside of my age group and ethnicity, all people who I may not have had contact in my typical day-to-day life at that time. And all of these experiences combined helped me secure a couple of apprenticeship offers. Next, the big organizations have insight events on offer, and it's definitely worthwhile getting onto as many of these as possible. These are often short-term in nature, maybe around 1 to 2 days long, where you have the opportunity to attend talks and shadow experienced members of staff to get an idea of what it's like working for a particular organization in a particular area of finance. If you attend a few of those, that's going to stand out to me because as an interviewer, I'm going to think this person's done their research, they've been proactive, and they've gone out to experience what it's like working for a particular organization, rather than just putting in an application as part of a let's see how it goes approach. On your CV or application, I'd only detail 2 to 3 of these insight events because you don't want to make your whole application about the fact that you've attended these insight events. They are short-term in nature. It's not really work experience, but attend as many as possible. They're helpful, great networking events, and you get to see the behaviors that you should be demonstrating in a professional environment. And that's the bit I'd say I was missing when I was applying to apprenticeships over a decade ago. Big point to note, guys, is that these opportunities get booked up very quickly, so you've got to be on it. If you're in year 11 now, you should be doing your research to identify suitable opportunities, which you should apply to in year 12. And if you're in year 13 and you've decided to go to university, same, you should be doing research to identify suitable opportunities to apply to in year 1 of university. Lots of people tend to miss out on these events because they're simply not aware. And another point to note is that there are targeted schemes at underrepresented groups such as women, black people, or ethnic minorities. So if you fall into one of those categories, it's definitely worthwhile keeping an eye out for any targeted schemes which may improve your chances of accessing one of these events. There are also a number of voluntary type organizations who work with firms to increase access to the world of finance. An example of that is Access Accountancy. So inshallah, what I'll do is leave a link in the description below to their website. Definitely worth registering with these types of organizations because again, it may improve your chances of securing a place at an insight event or even securing work experience with an organization. Then we have relevant work experience. So if you're at university, you could do an internship for 3 months or maybe even a placement year. And I definitely recommend doing one of those because I've spoken with countless people who mentioned that they did an internship or a placement year, impressed, and then managed to secure a job offer for once they had graduated. A lot of uni students will message me and say, Fazan, I started my applications too late because I was focusing on getting that 2-1 in year 3. And that's why I'm a big fan of a placement year, because yes, it does mean you graduate a year later, but imagine finishing your placement year and knowing that you've secured a job offer. That leaves you free to focus on your university studies and smash out that year 3. And even if a placement year doesn't result in a job offer, you've got a year's worth of work experience and know-how. So you're better placed to secure a job offer than grads who will be applying with no experience at all. Now, for apprentices, it's a bit more difficult because firms don't really offer 3-month work experiences or a try before you buy scheme. Definitely speak to people in your family and friends network though, because they may work at a firm where they can get you in for a week to do some work experience. But if you don't have any contacts, the best option is to speak to local firms who may be able to take you on for a couple of days so you get an idea of what it's like in the professional workplace. And that goes the same for uni students as well, guys. One piece of advice from me is that don't do more than a week at a place because A, you're not being paid, and B, you just want an insight into the career that you may wish to go into. And for that, a week is more than enough. Now imagine you've worked a few part-time jobs, attended a few insight events, and done some work experience at local smaller firms. You're going to be better placed to answer interview questions such as, why do you want to work for us? Rather than giving a generic answer such as, you're a big firm and you're going to add value to my CV, you're going to have real experiences, so you will be able to talk about positive experiences you've had of attending these insight events, the fact that you've spoken to directors or partners, and the fact that you've done some work experience at a smaller organization, which may have helped you reaffirm your decision that you want to work for a big firm because there's greater diversity, more varied work on offer, and greater career progression once you qualify. If you give me an answer which covers those areas and you speak about your experiences, I'm going to be really impressed as an interviewer. Final point from me, guys, is make sure you cover extracurricular on your CV application as well. I'm talking about sports, charities, clubs, societies, because it's not all about paid work. You can develop the skills I talk regularly about through these non-paid opportunities as well. And remember what I say, guys, organizations love diverse experiences. Inshallah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. As always, any questions or queries, please feel free to comment below or message me on Instagram.